Hello everyone, and welcome to this conversation and to this little online bulletin board here where we're going to post our thoughts, and to my basement. I really appreciate you joining us and being here, and for all the work that you have done in Peacekey and out of Peacekey and at WCCHS and out of WCCHS, all the things you've done to make things a lot better for kids. I really appreciate that, and I hope you're appreciated for that always. So this is all called, we've got this nonprofit and what are we going to do with it? And I was going to write these remarks out in a long letter and send it to you, but I thought this might be a little more personal, a little bit nicer way to do it. But I appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully, I think it might be about 10 minutes to this little talk. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this and watch this, and then to record your thoughts either during the Google Hangout on Monday, or before the Google Hangout on this board, or after the Google Hangout on this board, or if you want to invite someone else into the conversation and inviting them to do that as well. That's all great. I've written this little speech, so you're going to see me kind of scrolling along on my phone if I can make it work right. Just, thank you for everything. It's all called that we have this nonprofit, and what are we going to do with it? And we really should start with that. It's thanks to Liz and Terry, Liz Mandel and Terry Koch, that we have the nonprofit at all. They have managed to do the amazing thing of saving the organization. We're fiscally solvent, we're legal, we're a registered nonprofit again, registered with the state of California, and that's fantastic. But I'm in quite a different place now than I was when I started Peacekey. Not just physically, I'm physically 3,000 miles away, but emotionally I'm a very different person. I have different priorities. I'm not the person who was willing to kill himself and sacrifice everything for Peacekey and for the school. I want to start a family, I want to do excellent work in my career, and I want to live a balanced life. And that means that the things that Peacekey does and the way that Peacekey operates has to change. But I like you, I think I still really care about this cause. We care about wanting kids to feel connected, and we don't want schools to be places that inflict pain on kids, and we feel that it has to change. The need still exists. Just this past week, I was actually at an educators conference in Los Angeles, in California, and I was talking to a group of California teachers, and I was telling them about WCCHS, and like I always do, I start off by telling them about my regrets and my failings and what I felt like I wish I had done better or was able to do better with the school. But I also started talking about the things about the school which were really cool. The fact that we had these just emotional connection between the kids, that we had this amazing homeroom program and the Be the Change program and the LC and the JC, and just the feeling of safety and niceness that existed in our high school. The gangs that ended, the kids that left gangs. It was amazing, and the teachers were asking me, like, how did you do that? How did you do that? That's our biggest problem, when teachers said that they have a crisis a week at their school and everything just grinds to a stop. And it was a really timely reminder to me that this still exists, this need still exists, this problem is out there, and they're still looking for people to solve it. In my current role as the Maryland Department of Education, I visit underperforming schools all the time, and I see instructional and administrative dysfunction at every single school. It's often worse than we had at WCCHS, if you can believe it. And I see kids in emotional and social crisis all the time. In one school, there's a beautiful 8th grade girl, she's the sweetest kid. She was for a science fair project, she did a survey of all of her kids and about the bullying and cliques and isolation at her schools, and she begged her school to do something about it, and of course they didn't, although I did get them to call Challenge Day, but nothing else happened. At a high school in Baltimore, they had all their teachers trained in this I think it's called the Hands and Heart program, where they learn how to connect with their kids. And the principal's great. Every day he's on the intercom and he says, I love you. He says, we love you, to the kids every single day. And they reserve Fridays for these sort of Be the Change type projects that they do. And without a doubt, their school's a nicer place. Every kid, every visitor comes to that school, they say it's such a different culture, it's such great. But they're canceling that Be the Change project on Friday because they couldn't figure out what to do with it, and they didn't have that homeroom sense of connection, and you could just sort of sense that the kids still felt that they weren't really listened to. At other schools, very common to see advisory periods, and maybe they're at your schools right now, advisory periods, but 99% of the time those advisory periods are for doing homework, or for taking roll, or for Playing video games, it's just a waste of time, or even more bullying happens there. This is the reality, and we live in this country where education is about weeding out. We have these high stakes tests, and their whole goal is to find out who measures up to the right level and weed out the kids who don't. And this is our culture, this is what we believe in, and you don't need the statistics to know that that's killing our kids. There are definitely good groups that are doing good work. I mean, there's Challenge Day, which is amazing and is leading the way in this cause, and they're doing great. There's Soul Shop. There's I can't think of them right now. There's tons. There's this Hands of Heart. There's also operators. I don't know if you've heard of them. I had never heard of them before. They're called charter management organizations, or operators, that are outside groups that work with schools to develop curriculum and do professional development and work with the teachers as consultants, much like Peacekey did. And some even claim to have a focus on emotional security and social skills, like there's Friendship in Washington, D.C. There are lots of books out there on how to do this and how to make schools more connected, and there are publishers that are creating heart-centered curriculum and team-building games and tasks. So there is a group out there, but I think that the need is still outnumbering the providers. There are more than enough teachers who care deeply about this and have this incredible will to want to improve their school culture, but they don't have the time or the money to find those limited resources to bring into their schools. There are organized groups with money that are doing, they're running and they're starting charter schools. But almost all of them, including Friendship, are very data obsessed and data driven. In fact, even Friendship banned hand-holding in elementary school because it was too disruptive to the test-taking process. That's just sick. There are grants that are out there. There's groups that want to give money, but there's too few people who are able to write those grants and find the grants. There are schools, individual schools, that are making incredible progress, like this one in Baltimore that I was just telling you about, where the principal says, "I love you." That's fantastic, but they never get recognized for that. The only recognition they will get is if their test scores improve. So the need is there, and we've got this nonprofit, and is there something that we can do about it? That's the question, and that's really what's bringing us all here, and it's what I want you here for. Now, for me, I have to be honest, Peacekey is a hobby right now. That is how I see it. But a hobby can do a lot. I have this friend who collects books, and she collects books and then she gives them to schools. And she's up to about 1,000 books a week now, and she is now working on developing an after-school reading program to teach parents how to read to their kids at some local schools. And the reason she does it is because she loves to do it, and it's fun for her, and she enjoys it. And that's how I envision the future of Peacekey. It's something that I and others who want to do because we want to, because it's fun. It's something we do in our spare time that we think might make a small difference, and that's what we hope for. And that's where you come in. Not to do this, I don't know if you're still interested in doing those sorts of things for Peacekey or with anyone, but to as an advisor, as I move forward, I'm really wanting to know what Peacekey can do. And so we have this list, which is going to be right there. And what I'd like you to do is look at it and just judge. What do you think? Looking at that list, what jumps out at you? What do you see looks good for Peacekey to do, or looks bad for Peacekey to do, or for people like me to do? I really value your perspective. I value your wisdom. I value your judgment. It's always meant a lot to me. It's why I invited you to do this. And so if you could just share, you can like double click on the wall and you can just share a little blurb, something that you think about, something that, not something about every topic. I think that's going to be kind of a waste of time, but just anything that really jumps out at you, anything that you think is important about this subject, that you think would have the biggest bang for this buck in schools, that you think there were other people out there willing to do, things that you think would be really important and helpful in your experience that you wish someone were doing. Like I say, I don't want lots of comments about everything, but a couple, maybe one or two blurbs that really, things that are important to you, you can just post and share that other people can see. So some ideas. We could do program evaluation, going to schools, looking, see what they're doing, evaluate them, and report on it. Writing reports, writing published papers, either in newspapers or just on our own articles. We could do professional development for teachers, going into schools and helping teachers do better. We could sponsor conferences and meetings to bring people together to talk about this. We could write grants. We could develop an after-school tutoring program that maybe is a little more heart-centered. We could collect and point people to resources that are already existing, be sort of a one-stop, come and see what else is out there about this type of work, to connect teachers with that. We could collect and share ideas from WCCHS that worked, that was really good, and talk about that. Or we could create new curriculum and new team building activities that we think might work. All of these ideas are not easy. They're hard. They're going to take time, especially in the spare time. They're going to take a long time, and there may be legal logistics that we have to do doing operations in California. I mean, we have to collect money and get donors and find other people willing to do this. So none of this is easy. None of this is going to happen anytime particularly soon. But I'd like to start thinking about it and start finding other people and start doing the logistics. And so the sooner we figure out what we're doing, the sooner we can get started. And that's what I'm looking for from you. So if you could please leave your thoughts here or during the Google Hangout on Monday or anytime after the Google Hangout. And if you'd like to invite someone else and share the password to this page, you can do that too. And again, I really thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you guys on Monday. Bye.